Hey, welcome to my channel. I'm Melanie and I am completely obsessed with Skinwalker Ranch, Blind Frog Ranch, and pretty much everything Uinta Basin. Today I'm going to talk about one of my biggest obsessions, my current obsession, thing I can't let go of until I make this video and share it with you. It's going to be a deep dive into some of the possible, or one of the possible, scientific mechanisms that's at work at Skinwalker Ranch. I've got a theory. This is one of my wild, crazy theories, an hypothesis, if you will, of what's going on. I've got tons of theories, so if you don't like this one, maybe you'll like the next one. But let's get right into it. I'm really excited because I've been doing background information and now I get to go into the deep science and share this actual hypothesis with you. So here it is. Here is my hypothesis. I believe that Magnon-Phonon interactions explain much of what's happening at Skinwalker Ranch, including the transient magnetic fields and the 1.6 gigahertz signals, and the noise level, the rising. I think this explains all of it. Magnon-Phonon interactions. So let's talk about it. The world of Magnon-Phonon interactions. This is not a new field. It's really catching on though. It's like cutting edge physics. It's used for several different applications right now: magno-electric antennas and quantum computing. I recommend this 2021 paper, which gives a great overview of the current status of what they're using it for and where the science is at. Okay, so theoretically, the long and short of it comes down to this. You know how you can describe a photon as a quasi-particle of light that moves as a wave? Well, a magnon is a quasi-particle of spin, and it also can be described as a wave. And a phonon is a quasi-particle that transports sound or heat and also can be described as a wave. So here you go. You have two different waves, magnons and phonons. The magnons are spinning and the phonons are vibrating, and they each are waves. And if they both resonate together at the same frequency, you will get what is called a strong coupling. Okay, so what happens is when these two waves are coupled, their amplitude alternates between the two various waves periodically. So for a while they all act as phonons, and then they all switch and act as magnons. That is, the phonons turn into magnons and the magnons turn into phonons, and vice versa, back and forth as the fields fluctuate. That results in transient magnetic fields, just like the kind you see at Skinwalker Ranch. Things like that. Let's keep moving. Let's moving on to the next. So how does this work in reality? How do they do this? How do they get the phonons and the magnons to couple? So let's say you have a piezoelectric crystal and a thin layer of magnetic material. Now you remember what a piezoelectric crystal is, right? So you know how if you have a normal object and you hit it, it'll vibrate, or you put a charge in it, it either conducts or it doesn't. A piezoelectric crystal, when you hit it, it creates an electric charge. Or if you put an electric charge on the crystal, it will vibrate. So let's go back to what you have. So in order to get this Magnon-Phonon interaction, you have a piezoelectric crystal with a thin layer of magnetic material. It doesn't really matter, depending on what you're trying to do, if it's ferromagnetic or paramagnetic or etc. Different things do different things. But let's get back to it. So you got this crystal and this thin magnetic layer and this thin magnetic material. Now, depending on the geometry, the connection, the materials used, the magnetism, like I mentioned, and the frequencies you get them vibrating at, you can do lots of things with this coupling. This paper here talks about how they use Magnon-Phonon interaction to create an antenna. I know there's a lot of information on this page, but let's just focus on the physical arrangements. So you can see that you have a piezoelectric crystal here with a ferromagnetic material, a thin layer, right attached to it. In fact, in different papers, they actually grow. They use a crystal and they grow another ferromagnetic or magnetic crystal right on top of it. Kind of interesting. All right, next I want to look at chart C right next to the diagram. The green and yellow lines show when the frequencies of the magnons and phonons are not equal. The red line shows when they're resonating together, where the frequency of magnons equals the frequency of phonons. You can see how now you have twin peaks at the top, right on either side of the resonance frequency. And then also you have just such an increase in amplitude. With this technology, they can improve the efficiency of the antenna by over 100 times because such antennas are driven by the acoustic resonance. Their size is comparable to the acoustic wavelength and no longer limited by the electromagnetic wavelength, and the acoustic wavelength is shorter. So you can see why this is a really appealing technology, right? Now we're going to bring it all around again. Let's get back to Skinwalker Ranch and how this all applies. Okay, let's talk about Skinwalker Ranch. Let's recap, just like the show does endless times. It's one of my biggest pet peeves, I swear. Anyway, here's my take on the ranch. Be kind. I don't have Photoshop anymore, and I really need to get it back. So check out my drawing. It's kind of like a visual recap of the things, the phenomena that we've seen at Skinwalker Ranch. One of the things I added was the potential of caves underground because like Carl the Crusher and James Keenan and the Skinwalker crew on YouTube, I saw videos where they're investigating different caverns up more like by Blind Frog Ranch, but really all over the Uinta Basin they exist, and they may exist at Skinwalker Ranch. Is just, you know, unknown at this time. So how exactly does this relate to Skinwalker Ranch? Well, first, the ground is highly conductive and in some areas seems to hold a charge. At one point, I think on a TV show, even they lit up a light bulb without a battery or anything attached. So, in my opinion, I think that there's likely ionized water running through magnetic fields, creating some sort of power supply. Which, you know, might be exactly the energy needed to stimulate these piezoelectric crystals in the ground and possibly creating Magnon-Phonon interactions as I previously described, right? The transient magnetic field anomalies that they constantly are finding on Skinwalker Ranch, I feel like can really be answered by phonon-magnon interactions. Does that make sense, right? Transient magnetic fields, because sometimes the phonons turn into magnons, creating a magnetic field, and sometimes they turn back into phonons. Well, what about that 1.6 gigahertz signal that they always see at the ranch? Can Magnon-Phonons explain that? And I'm thinking yes. Remember that antenna I was all obsessed about? Well, that kind of then maybe these emissions, the microwave emissions and the 1.6 gigahertz emissions, maybe all those electromagnetic emissions are just a result of the piezoelectric interaction down under the ground. What do you think? Well, what about the equipment malfunctions and the batteries that keep getting drained and stuff like that on the ranch? Well, I think that right now they don't know everything. We don't know everything about Magnon-Phonon interactions. And it seems possible or likely that the emissions that could be happening from these interactions or the magnetic fields, electromagnetic fields, could probably be causing those issues. What is underground that is causing this? Do you think they're natural or manufactured? I don't know. Who knows? We got to dig down and find out. But to me, knowing that all the strange materials they even found, the rare earth materials they found when they dug down at the triangle, and you know, all the quartzite in the area, all the sand in the area. I mean, it used to be a sea, you went to sea, then you went to lake. And then underground they found all metals. I mean, they even looked for gold in the quartz veins in the Uinta Basin. So to me, it seems entirely possible that it could be a natural formed phenomena or natural formed crystals in the ground. But you know what, like, then I keep thinking, there's that weird anomaly up in the air, and that just throws it all out and makes me think there is so much more to this story. Well, if we want to know more about what's actually happening in the ground, we really need to measure the sound. Unfortunately, this sound is so high frequency. Currently, Eric's measuring infrasounds and seismic sounds using his Satan equipment at Skinwalker Ranch. But this is really high frequency sound, like gigahertz or higher. This is beyond ultrasound. So new methods are going to have to be devised to get this to measure this phenomena. There's one more thing I want to talk about before I end this. I don't know if I've mentioned, I know I haven't. I think I even forgot to mention this. One of the side effects of a Magnon-Phonon interaction is, you know how they change from magnons to phonons and back and forth. Well, once the phonons change into magnons, they retain spin. So the resulting phonons are circularly polarized. And you know phonons contain negative mass, right? So to me, I'm thinking that these phonons that are spinning and are getting all bunched up in these electromagnetic fields, to me this seems like the possibility and the potential of creating an acoustic wormhole, and I'm so excited, and this will definitely be the topic of another video in the future. That's it. That's it. Tell me what you think. Do you think magnons and phonons are responsible for this phenomena? Do you think? Am I wrong? What did I get wrong? I don't know. I'm dying to talk to somebody about this. Let me know what you think, and subscribe to my channel for more fun videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.